It's mock draft season, so best your sweet cheeks. I had to bring Alex on for an interest in mock draft. It's a 2-for-1. I'm going to have my own mock draft. Alex is going to have his own mock draft, but we're going to be alternated, so to speak. Alex is going to take the first selection for a team, and then when I go to make my selection, I cannot pick the same player, so on and so forth. You will get it once you see it. Believe me, we have tested it. It is now perfect.
We're 40 minutes in. We are a full 40 minutes in, so
yes,
we're ready for this.
But we need to decide who makes the first pick. Alex, first, let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, so if you guys love draft content, I make it literally every single day over at Hail Mary Sports. So mock drafts, love it. Review mock the mocks as well. Funnily enough, we ended up doing the same video content because some subscriber recommended it to me, and it turns out you're already doing it. So I stole your idea, thinking it was new. Love you for that. That built my show, but yeah, I mean, you guys love the NFL draft. This is where it's at. So
that's
come
right.
Hang out. We do videos all the time.
So to decide the first selection, you have a beautiful, beautiful underdog fantasy ball. The logo will be heads. The words on the back will be tails. I am going heads like I have 3 times before because of Gojo.
Right. And I'm a tails man, so it all works out. All right. That's heads.
And I am the first selection. So with I will pick for the Titans, and then you will have the second pick for the Titans in your mock draft. So perfect. I'm going to go ahead and take Cam Ward. Everything they have done thus far in free agency points to this selection being quarterback. They have reinforced the offensive line. They have done nothing to move quarterback. They didn't even re-sign Mason Rudolph. He's back in Pittsburgh. So this feels like, no, they're not trading down. They're going to take a swing, which I agree with. If you're the first overall pick, you need a quarterback. Take the swing if there's a guy that you think is worth it. And he's got those tools, man. I think he's got those tools. It might not be perfect, but it's enough for you at least to hope on, right? So Cam Ward is going in my mock draft. What about you, Alex? What about you?
Well, if you guys were tracking along in the intro, I cannot select Cam Ward for the Titans. So I got to choose somebody else. And it's pretty obvious what the best pick is here for the Titans. It's not like they need secondary. Maybe they could use some wide receiver help if you want to go Travis Hunter, but pass rush is king. We're seeing Myles Garrett get $40 million a year. These guys get paid a lot of money. The Titans don't necessarily have a massive quantity of pass rushers at the edge position. And so you actually might be better off going Abdul over Cam Ward, but money talks. I definitely believe they're going to be aiming for Cam Ward at number 1. And I also am now the first to select for Cleveland, correct?
Yep. So you took Abdul Carter?
I did. I took Abdul.
That is the right call.
It's the right call. And I mean, for Cleveland, it's also the quick and easy call to go Cam Ward. I'm sure that you're going to make the argument for Travis, so I'm not going to do it ad nauseum, but quarterback, I mean, it's pretty obvious the Browns have been trying out every single person, including probably your grandfather, for their starting quarterback position. Probably he'd be better than what they have right now. So being able to get Cam Ward there, even though you have a Super Bowl winning quarterback who took reps in the Super Bowl on your team, I think we all know Cam Ward is the far higher wins above replacement selection there.
Yeah, so I think this pick becomes a little not tricky in a bad way for Cleveland, but you could definitely make a case that Abdul Carter goes here. I know you just gave Myles Garrett like $40 million, but like who's opposite of him? They brought in Joe Tryon. They got your boy Isaiah McGuire. I mean, to be fair, they got the depth there to figure it out, which leads me to think that they might just go with Travis Hunter. Maybe you move a MJ Emerson, a Greg Newsome. Those are 2 guys that are up on contracts next season. And I mean, dude, added another wide receiver to whoever may be the quarterback. It might be Russ. Apparently Kirk Cousins is staying in Atlanta, but it might be Russ. Maybe Russ comes to Cleveland. Regardless, I think Travis Hunter does make probably a little bit more sense from a potential needs standpoint for the Browns. Now this is me, right? Picking for.
It is. Yeah. Well, pick for the Giants.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and I think the Giants are in a bad place. Mm-hmm. I think they're in a bad place where it's like, I don't think that front office is going to be retained. Like, I don't know if they did enough. I think they tried their darndest in free agency to do enough to make this team competitive. I think even if they bring in Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, whoever, that you could still pick a rookie quarterback and not play them. And I mean, rookie quarterbacks tend to have the ability to extend the shelf life on a front office. So even if you don't start like a Shedeur Sanders right away, you at least have that hope for the future, right? Potentially. So like they're just in a bad spot. So I'm going to go with Shedeur in my mock draft. And now you could just take the best player available.
I can. I will say, if this situation pans out like that, where Abdul Carter's available at 3, how would you feel about the Patriots like trading? I mean, how much do you think Kayvon Thibodeau's worth? Because what if they selected Abdul and traded away Thibodeau?
The thing is, Kayvon's going to be due a new contract.
I know.
So it's
another
like,
reason why they could want to do that.
It's like, do you feel like he's a high-end edge too? Like he's good, but it's like, how much is...
Like, does he fetch a 3rd or a 2nd?
I don't know about a 2nd.
He's young. I know.
I mean, even
like
a 3rd,
also a
it's
very
like
high 2nd.
A 3rd leaves me queasy because knowing that you have to re-sign him. Because it's not like the team. It's not like the team moving up is getting is in a place where they're like 1 year rental mode. You know, to like vie for a championship. None of these teams are. So it's kind of tough.
It was an interesting idea. I was like thinking, like, could they end up trading Abdul to another franchise, like maybe
or Kayvon?
Yeah. Like that's did I say that? Did I say Abdul?
Yeah. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like maybe Carolina with their 3rd round pick is like, hey.
And I mean, moving out of this pick isn't a bad idea, but like if you're set on making this selection quarterback, it's like, do you trust the Raiders to be like, well, we got Geno only on a 1 year deal. We don't mind taking a quarterback here and just letting him sit.
I mean, I would say if you trade out, I honestly think there are some teams that would be very willing to trade up for Carter, but it's a theory to test another day, my friend.
I mean, you could pull something like Detroit where they trade back and then trade back and then trade back up for Jameer. Was that it?
No, they just traded back to 12. I think was it Arizona?
Oh, it was Arizona that traded back and then traded up for Paris. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Vice versa. I knew it was a part of that trade. You like the NFL draft. Matter of fact, you love the NFL draft, which means you're going to love my draft guide. If you want to know every player your team drafts or even signs as an undrafted free agent, then this is for you. My draft guide updates every day, and you'll be able to see those updates in real time as I add new evals and player backgrounds. It'll have analytics from this year and last year. It'll have the pro day and combine numbers. It'll even have my notes from the senior and Shrine Bowl. It's a one-time purchase of $30 via PayPal, Venmo, or the Cash App. You can check out the pinned comment or the description if you want to follow those links. And when you do purchase it, please be sure to include your email because it is a Google spreadsheet. So I'm going to require your email. Don't make me hunt it down because I will hunt you down. I will find you and I'll make sure you get your money's worth. Anywho, thanks for supporting the channel.
Yes, but either way, I'm going to be going Travis Hunter here to the Giants at 3 in my mock draft. I think that, well, first off, I can't select Shedeur, but even if I had the option to, Joe Shane's draft philosophy has been very heavily, who does he think is the best prospect? It's what led him to not select like JJ McCarthy, Michael Penix, Bo Nix, and maybe he has to learn from that. But at the same time, he did end up coming out with a lot of good players from that class.
Yeah, I was going to say, to be fair, he wanted to move up for May, but just
exactly
couldn't.
So like he knew that he wanted to go best player available, and for him it wasn't a quarterback at that point. Feel free to debate it, but if enough people are saying that he's not a first round pick, I don't know if Joe Shane's going to be like, this is the best player on our board right now. Even if his job's on the line, I'd prefer to try to leverage maybe another pick or something else to be able to get your guy. So I have New England at number 4, which puts me in a little bit of a pickle because it would be nice to have Abdul. You're having the easy one for the Patriots, but there's a couple options here. You can talk about Tetro and McMillan. I think based on his testing, I don't think he's necessarily the most athletic
receiver. The lack thereof.
I don't think he's the best athlete in terms of athleticism. And I think that he's a very smooth athlete. And there's a reason he's staying away from the testing, because it'll make him look worse than the tape does. And I don't know if Josh McDaniels is really going to vibe with that kind of receiver. I haven't really seen them. I mean, to be fair, they went after Jalen Polk, who, in my opinion, not really remotely worth that selection. Now, in retrospect, definitely not. But I just worry that teams are starting to push Tet down the board, because even if he didn't test poorly, because he didn't test, they all know that he would. And so it's kind of the same thing. So with them selecting Milton Williams, I mean, it takes out Mason Graham from the equation, but if they missed out on him, that's a perfect replacement. I know that you're going to disagree with this, and I know a lot of people will disagree with this, and that's okay. I mean, that's the whole entire point of the draft, is that we get to have fun picks that we disagree with, and the beauty of the draft is we all watch the same tape, the same players, and we come away with different opinions. I think that Vrabel has a long tenured history of having his running back be a primary focus of the offense. And with McDaniels, I would love to see him use Ashton Jeanty properly. The 9 fumbles over the past 2 years are not great. But honestly, you'll support this one. I could tell you're gearing up for it. The fumbles are not as bad as like by Tootin, where he's just running and gets popped out. Like, they're like legitimate forced fumbles.
Yeah, and they're like second effort,
second effort. Exactly.
He's putting the team on his back, man. Come on.
Right. And I don't think any left tackle is worth it at 4. So if you can trade out, trade out. But I don't think there's anybody worth trading up for. So I'm going to go Ashton Jeanty, because I trust at the top of round 2, which we're not going to be doing that, but the top of round 2, it would be actually a really solid selection that you can end up probably getting a potential Connerly or Urzuri. And you're not SOL if you miss out on offensive line round 1.
Yeah, we kind of had this discussion. Like, I would have gone Tet just because like they missed out on Godwin, because Godwin was apparently always going back. Is just
right.
New England, they supplied as much money as they could. Just it didn't go their way. And I feel like now your only alternative is to go out and just draft youth at wide receiver.
Let me put one thing to that, because I'm curious if you agree with this, because it's a catch-22. It's similar to the Giants with Shedeur Sanders at 3. It's like they're pretty desperate, about to pay 28, 29, 30 million to Chris Godwin. Are they just not confident in Tetaroa at that point then, that they'd be literally overpaying by up to $8 million per year?
I think it could be one of two things. It could be like, okay, maybe Tet's not our guy, or we just need a wide receiver. We wanted Tet too.
Right.
So like we want to give Drake May all the weapons. Yeah.
Right. So is it desperation or is it avoidance?
Yeah, it's kind of a tough situation. I'm gonna go with Abdul Carter in my mock.
That's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, like honestly, I'd be interested to hear what trade value they'd get for people wanting to move up for Abdul Carter, because like I think that he's a guy that's very much worth trading up for. But I mean, you get to pair him up there with Harold Landry. They got Keon White. Mike Vrabel's a defensive guy. It makes all the sense in the world. But I'm just gonna. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, they did add him too, huh? Wow,
he's really good. Very good. Okay. For the 4.5, he did such a good job.
I was gonna say,
I'm happy with him.
Let's reel back.
Put it in context of the contract. All right, he's not worth 30 mil. Like, let's be real.
All right, I'm gonna give you the difficult decision for the Jags, because I'm gonna take Mason Graham here for the Jags. Yeah, it's the chalk pick. They've literally made every move you could outside of defensive line, which makes me feel like they feel very comfortable with Mason Graham being there at 5,
especially with Milton going to the spot before him. So.
Yeah, but I think there could be an interesting pick there for the Jags for you.
I'm curious what you think. So what I'm suggesting you're saying is Tyler Warren. I think that's the interesting pick.
The interesting pick.
Which they do lack a legit tight end 1.
They brought in Hunter Long.
My God.
Former 3rd round pick of the Miami Dolphins.
Let me adjust my pants really quick.
Dude, Hunter Long got his Jalen Ramsey, so I will not have Hunter Long hate on this channel.
Oh my God. All right. Well, so like Tyler Warren is certainly an interesting curveball, but I mean, there's 2 ways you can look at it. For the Rams, they were very tight end focused. They apparently were trying to trade up for Brock Bowers, which they didn't try hard enough. I mean, you could have gotten him before the Raiders. Like, let's just be real. They weren't that desperate to move up for Bowers. But 2, the Rams ended up signing Colby Parkinson in like last offseason, right? They value tight end to the point where they will pay for it. So you could look at it that way, but you also could look at the fact that, well, they don't really have a legit tight end 1. It wasn't a massive target share of their offense. And maybe Gladstone realizes that you can have success even without a legitimate tight end 1. Now, again, Mason Graham feels like the chalk-in move. I would like to throw a couple other names that are possible here. Like one of them being Nick Emanwari, like based on the testing, he could be, yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I'm not going to do it, but I'm saying like it's a name that could come into the equation based on the size and the ability. Like I'm a big fan of his capabilities, but another one that I like to throw in here outside of Tet's like the dark horse pick where like, yeah, you got your Mike Evans, Drake London type, but I would like to toss in Matt Golden. I mean,
okay.
It's not too far-fetched. He earned a wide receiver 1 spot in the SEC where he had no business earning it. He came in, nobody thought he would ever be a wide receiver 1. He earned that job. Even if Isaiah Bond was hurt, he earned that. Crowded
wide receiver room.
Very crowded. He earned it. I will still go Tet. I don't think it's very logical or like very like realistic, but I still think that it's the best move. I just like Tet's the pick, by the way, so you can click it. But
I clicked it.
But it's just, I mean, it fits Liam Cohn. That's the thing. It makes sense to me, but I just don't know based on what we're hearing if that's going to be a high probable answer.
So what about the Raiders? Now that you've taken Tet and Genty off the board.
Yeah, this is a fun one. I've really screwed myself, haven't I? So
a wee bit.
Mason Graham's the quick, easy answer. Butler's on a 3-year contract that's relatively inexpensive, which great job on them. Holy crap. I mean, like that price for Butler, really, really good. Especially all my Raiders guys are just saying that one of the best deals that they've made.
Yeah, he's a very good rotation guy.
Very good player. So that's certainly possible. Mason Graham still lurking on my board. I would say outside of that, again, you could try to like restart the Tyler Lockett vibe with Matt Golden. I mean, that is a dark horse pick. SpyTech loves Georgia DBs somehow, some way. His crazy ass could talk himself into Starks if they really think he's that high floor of a player. I do not.
Yeah, they brought back Olamau, and who'd they bring in? Chin.
Yeah, Jeremy Chin on a 2-year. But there's no way I think they would use a number 6 pick on a safety. That doesn't pay off the way that I think people want it to pay off. So, I mean, honestly, let's have fun. Let's light this candle. Why not? I mean, I'm here to have a good time. I think you are too. And the draft does things to us that we just never thought would ever happen. So I think that especially Pete Carroll in the past has thrown a lot of curveballs, and he values Tyler Lockett. I'm going to go Matt Golden at 6. I'm just going to say, let's go.
Look at that. Wide receivers coming off the board early.
Yeah, wide receivers go. I mean, especially based on the amount of money that teams are trying to dish out to some wide receivers, I think it's very possible. And then again, this is going to be your Tyler Lockett, even though he's a lot bigger, but the deep threat ability, the route running, like I think that you're getting a better version of him.
Yeah, well, with my pick with the Raiders, like I like the idea of going Tet McMillan. I mean, you just went wide receiver. This is a team that desperately needs somebody outside of just Jacoby Myers in that wide receiver room. Right. But I mean, Ashton Genty feels like such a Pete Carroll pick. Like the offensive line, it's ascending. It's getting good. If you want to take some pressure off Geno, run the freaking football. Genty helps you do that.
Sure.
So I'm gonna take Genty for the Raiders, and then I'm gonna have the Jets pick. And Tetro McMillan's interesting.
It's not a bad pick.
It is also Aaron Glenn. This is his first draft. You might think defensive-minded coach. He might want to stick with the defense, but I think that also maybe will include the trenches for the offense. I think he's going to look at what Detroit did. It's like, oh man, they put together just a top 5, a top 3, a top 2 offensive line and just took the pressure off the quarterback by running the football down people's throats. And you could look at this offensive line on paper and be like, okay, they got like 4 of their 5 spots figured out, and we could figure out that 5th spot with this pick. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take Armand Membu to the It's one of my favorite picks for the Jets right now.
It's so good.
And it's like, I get it. Aaron Glenn, it's his first draft, but it's like, you got to look at that team and understand the problem is offense right now.
Yeah.
So if
that
you want
makes too much sense.
Yeah. If you want to give Fields a chance, I think give him an offensive line that he could work behind, and one where you could just hand off to Breece Hall and Isaiah Davis and Braylon Allen, and then just call it a day.
See, I still have Shadur Sanders on my board. So that's the interesting thing.
I know. That would have been an interesting pick for the Raiders.
Yeah, but honestly, I think that Geno I don't think they're looking to get Shadur Sanders.
Yeah, the only thing with me, it's like Tom Brady talked about, how rookie quarterbacks need to sit, and you have Geno literally on just a 1-year deal, like 1 year left in his contract.
It is possible.
So that's just me connecting dots.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good dot connect, but I would also say you could put Will Howard in that equation for Chip Kelly.
Exactly.
Right? You want to take him in the
that's
third
a great
round.
point.
Yeah, like, I mean, granted, in the third round, you could also go Isaiah Bond, right? So you could get Shadur and Isaiah Bond, or Matt Golden and Will Howard. Which one would you prefer? But I mean, again, I would have much rather have gone maybe Ashton Genty if I could have at that spot. I ended up doing that to myself. But
yeah,
Jets, this is gonna be an easy one for me. Like, again, Shadur is possible, but it does look that you're not going to hand out money if you're not going to give a legitimate shot to a quarterback. And I mean, I think that he's self-aware that you can tank next year, and like he has some job security. So I'm going to go Mason Graham.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Great block shedder. I think he's going to be consistent. But at number 8, I really wanted to go Membu for the Jets.
Yeah, that's like my favorite landing spot right now.
It's so good. It's perfect too, because it matches Olu Fashanu, like his skill set as well. So I'm like, oh, that is very nice. So for Carolina, I'm curious about where you would look here. I have my selection. I'm just curious.
I probably would, if you're not going to, I'm probably going to go Mike Green.
You're going to be able to go Mike Green.
Yeah.
You really don't care about the sexual assault stuff?
No. It's not that I don't care. It's just like, if you look into the context of it, like, one was in high school. It was dealt with by the high school. Charges were dropped. And from the Virginia pilot, it was a stalking. The one at Virginia, because I guess he had like a no nonsense clause, and it was an anonymous report. No charges were brought. He wasn't questioned. They just were like, hey, this popped up. We have a no nonsense clause with you. We're going to suspend you. And he was like, well, I don't want to be suspended. So I'm just going to go to the transfer portal. So it's like, there's just too much. Like, I don't know about that situation.
Would you then still say then you would just drop the concern if you're in the top 10, or? What about on the field has he done that says it's a top 10 pick?
The game against Ohio State, I really liked. I love the speed to power. I thought he showed out at the Senior Bowl. Like, he's been my guy since October. Like, I mean,
I think he's a good late first.
You could
it's intriguing at 8 that you're locking that in.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can make a case for like James Pierce, but then he's got his own red flags too.
Yeah, that dude's a legit red flag.
So it's like, are we just taking then one of the potential like tools guys in like Mikel or Shamar? Like, for me, I adamantly want them to stick with defense early, because I don't think their pass rush is solved whatsoever, or at least their edge from the edge position. Outside of Clowney, I think they got some rotation guys, and that's it.
That's fair. I am gonna go a different route.
Perfect.
So linebacker has been a massive focal point.
Buddy, didn't they sign somebody?
Who'd they sign? That's like that big. Because what I was gonna say is
probably
Shaq Thompson's
nobody.
Gone. Yeah. Please look it up, because again, I was celebrating my birthday yesterday. So if something happened, I might be a little bit clueless. But I'm looking at Jalen Walker here, and while you looked it up,
oh, okay, you're saying okay. Well, we see him as two different players.
So I think Jalen Walker is going to be a linebacker. What happened? What was it?
It was Christian Roseboom. I don't know why. Like,
Give me a heart attack over Christian Roseboom.
Yeah, I know. In my head, I was like, no, did they sign a linebacker? Oh, yeah, they did.
All right. So even more to my point, linebacker's been a focal point of the Carolina Panthers defense for the better part of a decade, if not more. Luke Kuechly, Shaq Thompson, not going to equate the two, but they've been big parts of the defense. And so Jalen Walker, I think, is a better linebacker than pass rusher. He probably could eventually become a better pass rusher than linebacker. But regardless, you have both technically solved in one. And I think the biggest part is you have somebody who could be a legit top-end linebacker. And from what I hear from guys like Todd McShay, the NFL teams have this guy extremely high to the point where he's talking about him at 6 to play the Leo on the Raiders defense. I'm not too much against that, but I'm going to go Jalen Walker here for the Panthers at 8.
Okay. Yeah, man, he's going to be an interesting case study. I personally think his ceiling's at, to be fair, it's like edge is a more valuable position. Pass rush is more valuable. I said that
position. Too.
Yeah.
I think he can become a better edge rusher.
Yeah.
Than he could linebacker, but I think he's a far better day one linebacker than going up against NFL tackles at edge from where he's at.
Yeah, but I mean, even at Georgia, he was just kind of a spot dropper. But I don't know, he's going to be fascinating. I'm literally he's one of the prospects that I'm like I have no idea on. So I'm going to go with Mike Green. We kind of already discussed that.
Yeah, we pre-discussed Mike Green.
Yeah, so I'm going to take Mike Green to the Panthers. I have the New Orleans Saints.
Don't do this to me.
I don't think I will. I don't think I will. Yeah, because I still have Tetero McMillan available, and I think that makes sense. You get that size at wide receiver. You're bringing in what?
I kind of want you to do it.
Do what?
Go after Tyler.
Oh, well, I mean, they just re-signed Juwan Johnson. I mean, I get what you're saying, but they're paying him like, they're paying, $10 million a year. I mean,
Tommy Tremble's making 8. That doesn't stop you from doing anything. Like, I don't know where the 10 figures started making people like be like, oh.
For me, it's enough to be like.
It's enough to question, but not enough to like.
Yeah, because I think where I think they're gonna go based on their moves is the offensive line.
That would be that's what I was saying to go with it, because I was debating testing out the tackle that you've already taken. Because I think Membu's a really solid weapon.
Yeah, actually, I like that idea of Membu.
I know. I'm like
right side.
Can you give me some reason to justify that?
Yeah, but I mean, I think I'm gonna go. I think if I don't go Tet, I'd probably go Will Campbell since Membu's not available. Will Campbell gives you bring him into camp. You figure out, is he a guard or is he a tackle? He has experience on both sides of the line. He was a right tackle all through high school. He was left tackle all through his collegiate days. So it's like,
worry about his like flexibility though.
I legit don't think he could play guard.
That's what I'm saying. You just said test him out.
I think he's playing tackle, but I'm saying you bring him to camp because his concerns out at tackle, it's all length based.
I mean,
I think he's one of the most fluid movers in this class.
He's a very athletic player.
Yeah,
I agree.
But I'm going with Tet. I don't know why I'm even playing with the idea.
Well, because it's good for the people to understand what else you'd be considering.
You're right. It's good for you, the people.
The people. Okay, well, it gets me thinking a little bit about Membu versus Warren. So here's my reasoning behind Warren. Here'd be my reasoning behind Membu. Membu, it's easy. Right tackle sucks for the most part. Good to see Penning take a step up.
Not that much of a step up. He really struggled by the end of the year. It was like, that's the Penn. That's who I remember.
Right. Like, you still need that right tackle spot. So the question is, how comfortable do you feel about addressing that? At the tight end spot, what does Juwan Johnson's contract mean? Because money speaks louder than words. And it can mean two things. One, we're not going to value tight end to that degree. Maybe we're going to take a shot on someone day 2, day 3. Or it could be like, well, we're hearing everybody has Tyler Warren in their top 10. What happens if the Jets say, well, Aaron Glenn got very comfortable having Sam Laporta on his team. This team doesn't have a reliable tight end option. They're going to go that route. Or the Jaguars, we don't trust them not to take it. And then, I mean, even the Panthers are a dark horse team for it. So maybe they're doing some risk mitigation there, which for $10 million a year, not a bad price to pay. I honestly think it's risk mitigation more than anything. So I'm going to go Tyler Warren.
All right. Tyler Warren. So you get the Bears first pick. This is going to be interesting because like the Bears, I'm literally like, it kind of feels like some people say it's a trade down spot. I agree, but I mean, you have 2 early seconds. So it makes me think that 3rd rounder is expendable if you want to make a move up.
You're trying to justify something that you're getting.
I am trying to justify something.
Fucking flamed for right now, aren't you?
I didn't even like the move. I was like, okay, let's be interested in this mock.
You're
and
using
then everyone hates it.
By your moves.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to I'm literally Dora the Explorer out here trying to find every nook and cranny and possibility that could happen in the draft, and people hate it.
Happens to the best of us, my brother. It's okay. It's okay. Not all of us could be a Todd McShay. Not any of us can be a Todd McShay.
Dude, anymore. I wish, man. I mean, he played in like 3 hours away from where I went to high school in Richmond.
That's kind of hype.
Yeah,
that's cool. But speaking of having to find every nook and cranny to justify something, I'm about to get roasted, flamed, battered, and fried for this. And you know what? I love you guys for it anyway. You look at the quality of running back in this class. It's a very, very deep class. And it's very good. Oh, yeah. You know exactly what I'm about to do. Yeah. Just let me go on a thought process real quick. Because people won't understand. Some people will. And those of y'all who do, I'm very happy you're on the enlightened side. But when you look at running backs that are legitimate first round, high contributors, where do they go in the draft? I mean, you look back at Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey, top 10. You look back at Saquon Barkley, top 2. Not saying that's remotely close to the value of this, but you look at Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson, which are, I mean, there's a really key hone-in that I'm going to talk about with Jahmyr Gibbs. They trade back to 12. You know this as well, Monsieur Schmo. They were parading in their draft room that he got to 12. They were about to take his ass at 6 over Bijan. So potentially 6 and 12 or 6 and 8, but 6 and 12. This happens. Players of this caliber go this high. But on top of that, Todd McShay even talked about this as well. I'm going to continue quoting him because he pops up in my shorts timeline all the time. He's talking about a lot of teams have this guy arguably almost as RB1, if not some have him as RB1. And if we're going to say we're comfortable at 6 and 4 with Genty, teams are going to be comfortable at 10 with Hampton. And for the guy who ended up reaching on Jahmyr Gibbs, he might be reaching again with Amari and Hampton. That's exactly what I'm going to do. They invest in the offensive line. They need to go defense, but this is the first pick for Ben Johnson. He's not giving this to Dennis Allen. This is his guy. And if there's going to be anybody to do that, it's going to be him. All
right. So Chicago Bears, you took Hampton. I don't disagree with you because I think it could likely, like me personally, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But I get it. It's just kind of weird in a stacked running back class. It's like, do they end up coming off the board early then?
It's not that stacked. I'm just going to be honest.
It's not that stacked.
It's a good class, but it's not. People are talking about every single running back as like these GOAT material. It's like a lot of these guys are RB2s. Like, it's a good class.
I would consider that a good class. I think last year we got a class that was like no RB1s and maybe RB2s. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
We will find out. Well,
so yeah, I mean, I'm just saying there's not many RB1s. RB1s get pushed to the top. That's what
I'm one of two minds here. Part of me is like, okay, well, what if they try to get off one of their expensive linebacker contracts and maybe go Jahad Campbell? He's another guy whose name is just getting pushed and pushed and pushed.
Is it that pricey? I mean, I know Tremaine is, but
well, I mean, Tremaine. I mean, either one of them.
That crazy.
Yeah, but I mean that's cap you can get off of. It's not like
that cap is our like cap.
No, but I mean for the future coming up, they're gonna have to you're gonna have to pay guys along your offensive line, whether it's Wright or Braxton Jones.
This is true.
But I'm not gonna go there. I'm actually gonna go with I just think this dude's a Dennis Allen guy. He actually went to Dennis Allen's alma mater in Texas A&M. I'm going to go with Shamar Stewart. I think he's going to go a lot higher than people anticipate. He is a prototypical Dennis Allen build for what he likes along the defensive line. If there was like a really good run stuffer with pass rush and upside on the defensive tackle, I just don't think there is. Like I love Walter Nolan. I just don't think he's there yet. I would consider that.
Okay.
But I'm just trying to connect dots. I think Shamar probably goes higher than people anticipate. So I'm here with the the Niners now. Man, they have really stripped away at that roster, trying to get cheaper so they could pay Purdy. So I think they're going trenches. I don't care if it's offensive or defensive.
Okay.
I think they're going to go trenches and trenches early. With this pick, I just saw some edges come off the board, so part of me wants to like jump at the edge, but I feel like the defensive line class is pretty deep. So I'm going to make a move on the offensive line. I'm going to go with Kelvin Banks to be that heir apparent for Trent Williams. In the meantime, if they're open to it, put him at left guard. Left guard, wide open, left by the void of Aaron Banks, who got himself a decent payday.
Just give them the same number so fans can just say they have both jerseys.
Yeah, save money.
Just don't put the junior on the end. Just have them just say, hey, my name's Kelvin Banks.
Yeah, just Kelvin Banks.
That way people just get pretty much a free jersey, a 2 for 1.
Banks is such a hard guy to project where he goes.
Yeah.
Because like, he just always ends up falling in mocks for me. And I just don't think that's going to be the case. I think he goes at maybe top 20. He should. Okay. In my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Okay, so I have the Niners, right?
Yes. You cannot go Kelvin Banks, nor do I believe that you would.
I would not. However, I look at 2 players here that I love. Jihad Campbell, based on the fact that they let Greenlaw go, but apparently Shefty ended up talking about this. The Niners, after hearing that he agreed to terms with the Broncos, they ended up trying to get him back. So they value him at a pretty solid rate on the market. So I think that there's certainly some desire there. And there's not many linebackers I truly believe have that potential that Jihad Campbell does. But when you have Armand Membu on the board, it's kind of hard to say no, because you do need an upgrade at right tackle or an heir apparent at left, and you have a short-term fill at guard. So you kind of solve 2 to 3 issues for one. I think it's pretty clear if Armand Membu's there, they're going to go that route.
Okay.
Oh, I also have the Cowboys.
You do have the Cowboys.
I do. Okay, for the Cowboys, I mean, I'm curious what you think. Do you think they're going to pay Micah?
I think they have to pay Micah.
I feel like they have to. But are they going to pay him 40? Like, that's kind of...
I don't know.
Yeah.
He's going to get somewhere in like at least in the 30 to 40 range.
Right. Because I'm debating going Jihad Campbell here. That's what I'm talking about. Potentially having him.
Oh, because you think he's an edge.
Right. But he also could end up being very valuable as a linebacker too.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. He's
absolutely
former edge player.
Every good option for me right now. Holy Toledo.
Yeah. I got an idea of what I might do.
Okay. How about you? I'm going to give you basically a first pick by saying what you would do, or give me like the second and third option of what you would do. Because this is a tough pick. This is my dream trade back pick.
Yeah. Well, I'm one of 2 minds, but Matthew Golden's off the board for you.
He is.
Will Campbell.
You
get him into the building, find out if he is a guard or a tackle. Because Terrence Steele has not been great since extended. And you got Brock Huffman, who's now going to be your heir apparent to Zach Martin. And if he craps the bread,
I'm going to go Kelvin Banks. I mean, he measured out to be a tackle. Worst case scenario, you have him to be a guard.
Yeah. My only problem with that is he's played only left side.
But I don't want Tyler Guyton to continue playing there. I'm happy with Tyler Guyton being the right tackle. Because that's where he played in college.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Hey,
that's why I was like, all right, this checks out. We'll go with that.
Plan in place.
All right.
So you're going with Banks.
Time is flying. Holy
is
Toledo. It is.
So we need
Let's
I'm trying, Alex. Get off my back.
Up for the peeps. Let's go.
All right. So
Garrett's texting me and I'm like,
Yeah, so I want to go Will Campbell, but like I think it's just CeeDee Lamb and friends.
Dude.
It's just CeeDee Lamb and friends though.
It is.
So I like Matthew Golden a ton. I think he's going top 20.
Okay.
I think again, might not happen. I think he would be that would be something.
That would be crazy. Maybe number 6 though.
Maybe number 6. I think you go ahead and get some help for CD. Some people will be like, "Oh, we can't run the football." Blah 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 blah. And it's like, and Dak has all of 2 people to throw the ball to. What are we doing here? Miami Dolphins, fins up, baby, fins up. I'm not going to think twice. Will Campbell, please. We got my dream guy in James Daniels. That's who I wanted.
That was crazy. I didn't think that was going to be possible.
I was calling my shot, dude. I was calling my shot.
Jackson the guard?
No, I'm kicking Will Campbell to guard. Because
you just said you didn't like him at guard.
I did personally, but I don't mind his athletic ability in that blocking scheme. I think he's perfect for a wide zone, so I don't mind throwing him at guard in this case.
Do you really think that Will Greer would, or what I call him, Chris Greer? Like, do you think he would end up actually valuing left guard as a?
I think if he runs fast.
I guess so. So you locking in Will?
Yeah, I'll lock in Will.
All right, you locked in Will.
You can't do Will.
I can't do Will, nor did I want to. For me, at pick number 13, I still think, what do you think of that safety position, man? I don't think it's fully solved remotely.
I don't think there's answers there. I mean, they got, what, Ifatu Melifonwu on a 1 year?
Right. So I'm looking between Eamon Warrior and Starks. Completely different roles, but
I think they're both perfect for Weaver.
They both have their own perfect role. And I just think Nick Eamon is going to be, he feels more Miami to me. It's an intangibility. But on top of that, I do think the ceiling is higher. I think his zone coverage has just improved exponentially. And he is the best athlete that we've seen at that position. I'm going to go Nick Eamon there at 13. Again, I just think he's just too good to pass on.
Yeah.
For the Colts, I ended up having, if they didn't sign Ward, this is a dream draft. You just go Will Johnson, call it a day.
Yeah.
But they arguably need interior offensive line.
You could make a great case.
There's a good case for that.
Because I think currently they're going to probably run with Tucker at right guard.
Yeah. But something to me speaks that they might go edge.
Oh, I've been saying that for like 7-8 months now, dude, bro.
Yeah. Between Shamar and Michael, I think they want a little bit more flash. And I think Michael's better than Shamar, objectively.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. And Michael and Shamar are going to go higher than what we think, even though I don't have Shamar graded this high, nor Michael. I think they both are probably going to go in this range like you're talking about. So I'm going to go after Michael Williams. I think it's the best option for their edge core to be able to bring on another athletic freak that's still developing and still growing.
Nice. I'm going Tyler Warren.
Yeah, that was a quick and easy one for you.
That's
my
a
friend.
Quick and easy one. It is. I was so happy you took him earlier because I was like, he's a tough one to figure out where he may go. For Atlanta, this is pass rush 100%. The question is, what pass rush do you think? I know some people might make the case like, well, they brought in Leonard Floyd. Ho, ho, ho. Whoop de freaking do, dude. Calm the hell down.
Doesn't do anything.
There's a rotation level player at this point in his career.
Unmoved.
So I think I like James Pierce at this. Like you could make the case for Mikel and his upside. He had his pro day. I only got the 40 time number. I haven't seen any of the other numbers. Apparently he went to dinner with Mike Tomlin and friends. Just saying.
Which guy are you talking about? You talking about JP?
No, Mikel.
Oh, Mikel?
Yeah, but I think I'm going JP here. I wouldn't mind Jade Barron either. Because but they re-signed Mike Hughes to a 3-year deal.
Do you think Ulbricht's also going to run like a super duper heavy zone?
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one because, to be fair, Raheem Morris has been pretty flexible over his career when he was under Dan Quinn and stuff.
I just didn't think that, he used AJ Terrell properly. I think AJ Terrell still has some juice left in him.
He absolutely does.
Compared to what
he absolutely does. Here, you make the pick. I'm going to let go, Joe.
Well, what pick did you do?
Oh, I took James Pierce.
Oh, I mean, I'm just going to be honest. I don't think he goes in the first round. Guys who get labeled with coaching concerns, most of the time, even if they deserve to or not, they just don't go in the first, whether that be Christian Barmore, Tevin Jenkins. Those are the two ones that I remember the most. And then Jerzon Newton this past year, no one cares about their talent. No one was talking about their talent not being worth the first. When they have that label, people just genuinely get scared in the NFL. I feel like we would have heard more about interviews if it was he consistently interviewed terribly.
kind of like what we've heard with Shador.
Yeah, but Shador's more of like, I mean, that's going to be so magnified. No one really
that's fair. Which is fair.
Yeah, I'm going to go Will Johnson.
Is Shador still available on yours?
He is. I mean, who else is going to take him though?
That's fun.
Yeah, I mean that's what happens in the draft. We're like, oh, why is Malik Willis falling? Why is he going? Like, it happens. It happens arguably too much. Like, why is Spencer Rattler falling to the 5th? Sometimes we think that a quarterback's worth more than they are. The NFL humbles us. But I'm going to go Will Johnson here because I think having a strong boundary heir apparent or duo is going to be more valuable than anything else you can do. I would say that if I was going to go off of purely a realistic bet, getting a nose tackle and Kenneth Grant makes a ton of sense if you're trying to build a culture. But what would you do between those two? Did you select Will Johnson yet?
I did.
Okay. Well, I mean, like in that situation,
I would go Will Johnson because he's the higher player on my board.
Are you solely doing what you would do?
It's a little mix of both.
Okay.
I'm going both ways, some would say.
Okay. Oh my God. All right. At number 16 for Arizona, I know that they're really trying to go and fix their defensive interior. I would say that Kenneth Grant's not a horrible option here. I think they got a bunch of patch guys. Besides Kenneth Grant, though, I mean, if you do see Will Johnson slip here, you lack a bigger physical boundary corner. I don't think that's a bad idea. Walter Nolan is much closer to Milton Williams, who you were trying to sign in free agency. But Walter Nolan also has some question marks over his maturity. That's not from me. That's from other people. So I honestly think that if you're going to try to build a foundation here, I mean, Jahad Campbell's like a really intriguing option, but I think that you end up going and you select Kenneth Grant here. Honestly, at 15 as well, I probably should have ended up debating going Malachi based off of Ulbrich saying, oh my God, it's the safest player in the class. But
that's fair.
I mean, either way.
They do need another safety too.
To be fair, I arguably would end up flipping picks 15 and 17 anyways. So that gives a spoiler for what I'm going to do then.
Yeah. Who'd you just take?
I took Kenneth Grant.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
People apparently have him in their top 10 as well. Like that's just
absolutely.
the rumor.
I buy into it, man. I can't wait till
Jordan Davis 2.0.
Can't wait till his pro day, man. He's gonna go nuts.
But like Jordan Davis, there is a historical fit to his defense.
You brought up Jahad Campbell. That's who I'm going for Arizona. I don't love their linebacker room. Mac Wilson?
Yeah.
Was pretty solid last year, but they didn't White's not back with the squad. They brought in a backup from the Bengals, a former Appalachian State linebacker, Akeem something. I can't remember.
Pick from the Eagles.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Akeem Davis-Gaither.
No, Bengals. He was drafted by the Bengals.
Who am I thinking of? That was the 3rd round pick from the Eagles.
Nakobe Dean.
No, he was an Appalachian State linebacker. I'm tripping.
I'm taking Jahad Campbell. While you look that up, I got to make a pick for the Bengals.
Right.
The Bengals. This feels solely like defense, whether it be edge, whether it be corner. You can make a case for safety, but I'm hoping maybe they realize Jordan Battle's pretty solid. We'll see. Al Golden, he likes his flash along the defensive line. They made some moves. They brought back BJ Hill and they brought in TJ Slayton to help with the interior. We are starting to get a little thin at edge on my draft because Mikael Williams, you got Ezraku. You can make the case for corner, but Golden has played historically a lot of man. Holy crap, Will Johnson's still here for me in this draft. I think I'm going Will Johnson.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that until I looked. Oh, well, Jalen Walker's still here for me. I could, but he, nah.
Okay, so you went Jahad Campbell, then Will Johnson?
I did.
All right. All right, so for my Bengals pick, I'm between Will Campbell and Malachi Starks. A lot of good choices nonetheless. Technically, I could go Jahad Campbell here. You did not. Would not be a bad option, especially with the linebacker core kind of being in flux at the moment. But I also know that guys like Jack Kaiser can work with Al Golden's defense that you can end up spending a much cheaper pick on. So I personally would prefer to do that. Defensive line wise, defensive interior solved. I think edge, you're not going to be getting remotely close to the value that you're looking for. So I think Trey stays. So what you're going to need to do is play the value game. And I think safety is a pretty valuable position for Al Golden. I don't think he's going to get the opportunity to select Xavier Watts in round 2. So I think he's going to need to get ballsy here and go after Malachi Starks, who ends up having a solid floor. But if the Falcons fans are that pissed, even though this breaks the rules of the game and would mean that I would end up doing the same pick as you technically could flip the 2.
Yes, you technically can, but we're not.
But
so you took Starks.
People get mad.
But if people get angry, I changed my mind.
I'm like, damn, I kind of forgot about the Jeff Ulbrich quote, but Will Johnson is the better pick.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
So you went with Malachi?
Starks. Yes, for the Seahawks. Again, Will Campbell, I just don't trust on the interior. I just don't. Like,
that's a perfect fit for Clint Kubiak, though.
Yay. I mean, you also have 2 second-round picks. This is a very good class to do that in. Whether you want to potentially trade back in the second.
I thought that too. And then when I did my 2-round mock, I got there and I was like,
Well, I mean, Tate Ratledge most likely will be there. You can potentially trade back and get Jared Wilson. And that's the worst case scenario, in my opinion, is that you're looking between those 2. But you might end up seeing Donovan Jackson slip a little bit. You might end up having Marcus Bowe just be your option in round 3, which is not a bad option. Jonas Savania, Wyatt Milam, I feel very comfortable. Anthony Belton, who also took right tackle reps at the Senior Bowl. I think you guys are going to be okay. I think that you look at McDonald and he's going to say, how the hell am I not going to take Jahad Campbell here? Because he loves flexible pieces like it's candy. And Jahad Campbell is a defensive coach's like perfect dream. Like this is their number 1 dream. So I'm going to go Jahad Campbell there for the Seahawks.
Okay.
Again, you have 2 second-round picks. Guards are going to be there. Worst case scenario. Just don't spend a day 3 pick like you've been doing. And you'll be fine.
I'm in a tough spot.
Yeah, you are. Are you?
A little bit, dude. A little bit. Because like with the addition of Cooper Kupp, I just don't want any more guys that'll fill out my slot. So it's like
Matt Golden is like my dream pick here.
Yeah, it would have been nice, but he went way too early.
In both of ours.
Yeah. Kenneth Grant is here. That's an interesting thought. They re-signed Reed though.
Yeah.
So I feel like they can maybe go away from that corner, but I don't know if, like, honestly, Barron's not a bad shout out, but you also could make the case for Malachi Starks, who could like, you can maneuver all around that backfield. What's that look?
I was about to say, Barron doesn't seem like he fits very much. Like, you don't
think he fits a quarters heavy scheme?
Not necessarily. Like, if you're trying to work with solely the defensive coach in mind, sure, you can make it work that way. But defensive coaches that are good modify their system to play best for their players as well. And that's why I see a lot more potential with Reek Woolen and Devin Witherspoon in being able to use them in a wider variety. If you're solely going to run,
that's the problem for me with Witherspoon. I think you probably end up kicking him outside more often then. Right. Which, if that's the case, then I like Starks.
Right, and McDonald runs a 3 safety system. If I'm not mistaken.
He does. It's just like Kobe Bryant had a pretty solid year this past season.
Yeah, he did. You could also go offensive line. Or Michael Williams. I mean, he's, again, somebody.
I mean, if I go offensive, it's probably Gray Zabel. But I'm probably, I'm going to go with Starks.
Okay.
I like the versatility. Yeah. I mean, it could be him or Barron. I'd be okay with that. Yeah. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Oh, man. I think this is a nice pick for me. Because I'm going to go with Jalen Walker. Figure out, is he a linebacker? Is he an edge? Fun fact, you're going to need both after a year because Son Reddick's a 1-year deal. And Levante David can't play forever, though I feel like he might. But even then, you don't have someone next to him. And I felt like that squad was at its best when Devin White was just a blitzing monster.
This is true.
Which is something that Walker can do a ton. So I'm going to snag him there.
Well, I mean, I just trust Bowles to make the most out of players that have a little bit of ambiguity.
Yeah,
so
Bowles, his feet are to the fire, dude.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, he's still making the playoffs and such with.
Yeah, but your defense has to be better than this. I mean, there was some, I don't know how legit, but how real were the conversations of, yeah, we're just going to promote Liam Cohen to head coach?
It's a good question to ask. Very good question to ask.
Don't have to now. He's over elsewhere.
Yeah, he's gone. I again say money talks a lot louder than mouths do. And the archetype of edge rusher that you're looking for is very similar to Jalen Walker, but I'm going to get one that's a step up. And I sometimes, especially when your feet are to the fire, you don't need to go for like the A+ player. Sometimes you just got to go for the B+, but it ends up having a bigger impact. And sometimes it's just nice not to worry about a problem. I think I'm going to go Donovan Ezeraku here.
Oh, I love that.
Well. Yeah, it's like Hassan Reddick. Whenever I see a team do 1-year deals, that shows me that's what you want to draft. Like, whenever you do a 1-year deal, you're saying, this is what I want on my roster. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it, so I'm going to fill it for the short term anyway.
Do you got a comp for Ezeraku yet?
Do I have a comp for him? No, I don't force comp. I don't feel like I haven't studied enough players in depth long enough to genuinely feel comfortable enough to say for every prospect the way that you, Marcus, do. Like, you guys do.
Well, I don't do it for every. I look at maybe like a top 10 and I'm like, okay, that's good. That's fine.
Okay. Well, to be fair, for me, I personally think that you guys do a much better job at that than I do at the moment. I'm still building up that repertoire. When I feel a gut reaction for a player,
can I throw one out for you and see if you like it or if you hate it?
All ears.
Like Azeez Ojulari. Short and long. And I thought Azeez coming out was pretty.
Yeah, like the thing is, I love Donnie's fit for Fangio, and I was thinking Azeez would have been my prime target in free agency for Fangio.
I thought they were both really well put together for like as technicians. So like, because you and me both loved Azeez coming out of the draft.
Yeah, I mean the knee was like I think the reason he dropped, but
yeah, it still is.
It still is. But I have the first pick for the Broncos here, and a lot of good players on the board. I'm going to throw a curveball out there. You know this. You know that I like the curveball, but Sean Payton's the master of deception. Like that's
some would say
he's proven it. He just is somebody who is willing to talk shit and spend money in order to make teams think one way when he's going another. And that's what's so beautiful about him. Like he genuinely has an agenda and he's going to do what he can to get stuck to it. I think the Broncos ended up paying Evan Ingram to make the Chargers not feel pressure to move up for Colston Loveland. I don't think Evan Ingram's their long-term option. And I think Sean Payton at a price of what? It was $23 million over 3. But I think it was $23 million guaranteed. $23 million, that's what he's paying in order to deceive someone in his own division from getting a player that fits with the coach he's had. And he's getting a player who fits the exact role that he just showed he wants on this team for the long run. So I'm going to do a little 4D chess and go after Colston Loveland still.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
I don't think Evan Ingram's his actual answer. I think he's just bullshitting. I think he's also doing that as risk mitigation in case he gets taken above. But I think he's enamored. That's
fair. I am also going to go with the pass catcher. This isn't going to be my Amari and Hampton spot. It's for me, it's really a toss up between Burden and Ibuka, but I'm going to go with Burden. I think they have a ton of guys that could stretch the field. He will be another guy that can do that, but also he's just a nightmare after the catch. Freaking love him for that.
Worry.
Oh, unless he plays a first round pick.
I'm just saying. He couldn't break a single tackle from him.
Well, it's a good thing they got Cortland Sutton.
This is true. He just runs right through him.
Pittsburgh Steelers. Fun fact. Darius Slay ain't your long-term option.
He is not, but he's a good. I'm very happy with that signing.
Yeah. Part of me wants to say to hell with it and go Amari and Hampton here.
Please.
But I'm gonna go with corner. I'm sorry to piss on your party. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I love Jahdae Barron, dude. I think he goes higher than this. His ability to play inside and out. I think he can even play a little bit of like box safety.
30-inch arms.
Yeah. And you got
I think he's Roger McCreary with a little bit more upside. A smarter Roger McCreary. Roger McCreary's good though.
Like, McCreary is good. He's fine. He's fine.
Okay, like for what we thought of Roger McCreary, he's good.
Yeah, I like Barron, dude. The dude's got ball skills. That's the thing. He's just a playmaker in general.
In space, yes. I'm just saying. Hey, Marcus has a more aggressive opinion than I do of him. I like Barron.
I like Barron too, and I think this is a great value at 21.
Well, I mean, to be fair, even if he goes into the nickel, we kind of need it still.
Yeah, I mean, beating Bishop's fine there.
Right, but do we need fine?
I think grabbing guys that allow you to be versatile and move guys around and act as chess pieces is just a big plus.
Yeah. I'm going to go on a limb here and say the Steelers are going to miss out on Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, no, at this point, yeah, you might as well send it.
We're going to go Shedeur Sanders here.
I forgot he was still on the board for you.
There's just again, think about it. If he slips out of the top 10, he is going to be going to the mid to late first. And there's no teams in the mid first that are probably going to be looking at taking Shedeur Sanders. So he slips. That's what happens in the draft. It just players slip when we don't think they're going to. So I think that's going to be the move the Steelers go with. We don't care about personalities, if I'm just going to be honest. Like, that's why we have GP. Now we have DK. I mean, we've had a ton of people with crazy attitude on the team. So 5'3" in attitude, I guess 6'2" in an attitude. What's up?
Just keep adding to it.
6'2" in an attitude. Shedeur Sanders, quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. 22 for the Chargers. You can see how excited I am if that's actually the move, but I mean, it's better than Jackson Dart.
I mean, Jackson Dart on the third, though, ain't bad.
That'd be good. But people are talking about him first. I'm like,
yeah, I don't know about that.
Wait, where are you at on him now? Hold on, I thought that you were his like number one.
I'm like in middle of the second.
Okay, that was yeah. You're just talking about him in the third. I'm like,
well, I mean, good players fall on. Like you hear, like there are people that are high on Shuck. I think Quinn Ewers still has some fans out there. I think I haven't heard from him in a long time.
Some Will Texas Howard fans that were too drunk to remember his bad games.
Yeah, Jalen Milrose interesting. So it's like I think QB3 could go in a variety of different ways. Who knows?
Well, the Chargers got a lot more interesting when they ended up bringing on Mekhi Becton, because my answer here would be Will Campbell and just like see if it works, or Josh Simmons and see if it works at guard. But that's not the case anymore. Defensive interior is not a bad idea. I mean, Poona Ford just got sniped, completely different body type, but not a bad option if you want to go defensive interior. Where would you go with this? Like, this is a weird spot to be in. Like,
I don't know. Part of me thinks they're not going to go after wide receiver.
Well, I just don't think the wide receivers would be the type that they'd go after.
I think Burden, like, they don't really have a yak guy.
Well, I mean, who are you pushing to the boundary? I mean, I love Ladd. I would just say, like,
I think Burden could play inside and out, and you could do that with Ladd as well.
That's where I keep forgetting, like, you and I disagree on. I think Burden's a slot only. That's why he played primarily there for Missouri.
Yeah, I think you could find like a 40-60 split between him and Ladd. And I mean, you could do fun, different things. It's Greg Roman. Just give him a guy that can make plays after the catch. That would be one thought. You could make the case for, oh, golly.
It's not easy. This is a weird situation to be in.
Yeah, you could be thinking Derek Harmon, Darius Alexander, Walter Nolan. I think any of those guys.
Man, Derek Harmon's so overrated. I love the guy. I was his biggest fan at the start of the year because I liked him at Michigan State. I just top 20 for some people. I'm like, wow. I don't know. Where do you have him?
I think he's like top 30. I think I have him at like 31.
Okay. I mean, 31's fine. I just like seeing him so consistently. Like people are saying top 20. You know what? This is going to irritate some people.
Look at that. I nailed it.
This is going to irritate people. And I understand. I'm going to take it on the chin. But based on where you're at, and honestly, the fact that Ortiz doesn't miss, I'm going to go after a player that you're not going to miss on. I'm going to go after someone who plugs the nose as well. I'm going to go after Tyleik Williams because I think you can make him into the next Kenneth Grant. Okay. I think he's better than Kenneth Grant. I don't think he should go in the first, but it's like, we're not even doing trades. So.
I think he's more disciplined. Would that be the word I'm looking for?
I think he is a higher floor than Kenneth because Kenneth can get himself.
I agree. He's a higher floor. Yeah.
Yeah, but the ceiling, I mean, just depends. Can you develop Tyleek as a passer or pass rusher?
So I don't want to double dip here because I was thinking probably going Kenneth Grant because he's still available on my board. Instead, I'm going to go with Colson Loveland because they missed out on Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
People are crying. Give Herbert a pass catcher. This is a pass catcher.
Yeah.
So I'm going to snag him there. Green Bay is such a freaking difficult pick, dude.
Really?
I think so.
You know? Okay.
Like,
I'm just a sucker for sending Donnie to Halfley again.
That's fair. You know what creeps into my mind is what Marcus said that, they believe in their guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, would they invest? Yeah. I get that. How much? Right. Part of me, like, I wouldn't mind Kenneth Grant here because like TJ Slaton, he had like 400, 500 snaps.
Right.
And you lost that.
Right.
So that's like one area you can go. You can make a case for a corner.
Just want to draft another interior offensive lineman because you apparently need to just draft starters when you have them.
Yeah, like, dude, I think you could maybe even make a case of tackle. Because, like,
what about Abuka?
Do you feel like he's just more of the same of what they have?
I mean, they're missing out on one of them for an entire year.
Yeah, so, with Watson,
they have to pay him eventually,
and then this could be Dobbs might be gone too because of the concussions.
Right.
So it's like I think that's fair.
Like they have to pay him eventually too. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like those contracts are coming due.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah. Golly, dude, Kenneth Grant though.
KG
you know
or Abuka?
I'll let you do Abuka if you want to. I'm gonna go Kenneth Grant just because how many snaps TJ Slaton had.
Well, it doesn't limit me on what I would do because
I mean you got Barron there too. You got Will Campbell still on the board,
dude. 5'3" and an attitude, Jahdae Barron, man. I'm telling you, this whole entire corner court is gonna be like 2 feet tall.
Dude, they went out and got Hobbs, and I was like, okay, I thought Halfley liked bigger guys, but
I mean, yeah, he just I don't know. They just got a good deal. I think that's why. Sometimes you just get sucked into the art of the deal and then you just get spit back out. Will Campbell's continuing to slip for me. I think, honestly, this is perfect for them to develop as a left tackle. I think at this point, they love tackle guard hybrids in the first place. Like Zach Tom, literally a center tackle hybrid.
That's the guy they're going to re-sign.
I'm going Will Campbell right there.
Yeah. Like that's the guy they're re-signing. Between the two, Zach Tom and Walker, that's right. They're signing Tom.
Yeah, exactly. So they value, and then Jordan Morgan as well is a great example, tackle guard hybrids. So Minnesota has done a great job addressing a billion positions of need. I mean, the question is defensive interior truly solved? I don't know. They're taking a ton of dart throws at it.
Ton of dart throws, ton of money.
Huh? Yeah. They've taken enough dart throws. How about that? Honestly, there's not many positions they need, which is a great spot to be in. But where are you looking at with this pick? I know that technically that breaks the rules, but
it does because I'm now scared to tell you.
Do I have that player on my board?
Yes, you do.
I do.
That's why.
Now okay. I'm gonna go corner here.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to go Trey Amos. I think I want a bigger physical corner. Jahdae Barron just feels way too close to Byron Murphy. Size, overall ability. I'm going to go a big physical boundary corner that just loves to be physical at the catch point.
Yeah, Amos would probably be the guy I think is the guy that fits best.
Yeah.
And that doesn't have the health concerns. Barron, I just don't think is a fit for Flores.
Yeah.
So that would be an easy no. I'm going to go with Gojo. I just let you in and you want out? Make up your mind, bro. Freaking Gojo, dude. Controls everything around me. I'm going Gray Zabel. I think he's a...
guys?
Huh?
after signing 2 interior offensive linemen?
Yeah, because they didn't bring back Dalton Reisner. They traded Ingram. So like what they have Brendel, but it's like, man, it's like you could bring him in and also he could be your center down the road because Kelly also misses games. It's just the point in his career.
I mean, I love Gray, so
yeah. Ideally, this is a trade back spot, but
okay,
Kelly is what it is. I gotta let Gojo in because he's a
what a beast. He's just like flow of a video. What the hell is that?
He's like, screw your mock draft video. I'm between 2 players here: Tyler Booker, Josh Simmons.
Go for someone with a tackle upside.
Huh?
Go for someone with a legit tackle upside.
That's the question, though. How confident are they in with a Blake Fisher? And poor Titus Howard's having to bounce around between right side, left side, guard, tackle. Like
he's being passed around.
Quit playing with this man.
He's being passed around like a sorority girl.
Yeah.
Pause.
Golly, dude.
I just pissed off 2% of our demographic.
So, like, yeah, I'm kind of confused on. Like, not confused, but it's like
all of the sorority girls.
Yeah, you know, I'll let you take Josh Simmons here. I think I'm gonna go with Booker because I do think guard is kind of like.
I mean, it feels very close to Kenyon Green too in terms of mobility, length, etc.
Yeah, he fits because
better.
They bring. Sorry, the children are saying bye.
Okay,
but I think Booker fits what who is it? Callie? Who's the oh my gosh, his name is escaping me. The OC now for because he's from the Rams. He's gonna want to run all this compressed formations. It's gonna be very probably gap heavy because that's what McVay has kind of turned towards.
I'm trying to see if you say it Kaylee or Callie, but Nick.
Yeah. I think he was a former tight ends coach for the Rams or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think he's probably gonna be drawn to these strong guys like Booker, like Simmons. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Booker. I'll let you make the call on. Well, you can't go Booker, but if you want to go with tackle, I'll let you make that call.
Yeah, they need offensive line help. So yeah. I'm debating whether they'd actually go after Simmons or Zabel. Because I love Zabel. I don't know if they're gonna feel confident at who they have at tackle. But I think Simmons shows that he was better than Zabel, and I have Zabel inordinately high. I'm going to go Simmons for the upside of being a legit tackle.
Yeah, because I mean, if we're being honest, like, I don't think Fisher's ready based on what we saw last year.
Oh, no. And I like Fisher too.
Yeah.
But for the Rams, a lot of very good choices. You technically could even go Emeka Egbuka, just kind of like totally just go pedal to the metal and see what happens. It's not a horrible idea.
It's not. I mean, they brought back Tutu. They brought in Devontae.
Right. And I always say 1-year contracts tell me exactly who you want to draft, but aren't very confident that they'd get there, which, to be fair, is nothing like Luther Burden or Emeka Egbuka. That's a Matt Golden kind of thing. But I do think if you're replacing Cooper Kupp's workload, which technically you can say Devontae's doing that, I'm still very confident, especially with the linebackers off the board. Also, they don't value linebacker very much. With the corners where they are, I don't trust Barron to really be the definition of a Los Angeles Ram. I'm going to go after Emeka Egbuka.
I think that's another guy that fits pretty well.
I don't. I mean, look at the corners that they brought in. I don't think Jade is a reflection of them.
Okay.
That's why. I would prefer someone who's a little bit more on the physical side of the spectrum like Trey Amos. But
okay,
if Trey Amos were available, that's who I'd select.
Who are you taking? Emeka?
Egbuka.
That's fun because that would have been my pick.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Okay, good.
Yeah, I think I would have taken it here because like you don't have like we don't have Loveland on the board. I think that would be a guy maybe to consider too.
Right.
So now it's just kind of like what am I doing here? Mom, help me. Part of me wants to go with
FYI.
Huh?
We are at 57.
Oh. I think I'm gonna go with Maxwell Harrison.
another person with sexual assault allegations.
I'm hoping again because we have outside.
That's wide open. That's researchable.
That's the thing. Outside of that tweet,
it's not a tweet. You can look in the Kentucky crime log.
No, but I'm saying outside of that, you haven't really heard it from anyone else, like in the general public. I'm not saying it's like
it's there.
I know it's still an open case. I'm saying it's a legit concern, but I'm saying you haven't heard it be a concern to anyone in the general media. Like no one's really been bringing it up, which tells me maybe teams aren't really
caring.
I guess that's the best way to put it. there's no denying he'd be a first rounder if that thing wasn't looming. And again, this goes back to when he was a freshman. So it's like, I don't know, how is that sucker not closed yet?
I don't get that. I seriously have no clue how that's not a closed case. It's open. You guys can check it out on University of Kentucky crime log, March 21st, March 25th, 2020.
Yeah, it's when he early enrolled. So like, because I looked into it after you sent me that, and it's like, and that tweet scares me because she's like, oh, I had 5+ people now come up to me with similar reports, and it's like, why aren't more people talking about this? Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. It's kind of a weird. Most
people might have heard it from me. To be fair, let's be honest. There is a little bit of an echo chamber because our audiences overlap.
Yeah. So it's like this would be a great spot for him.
Yeah.
There's questions. To be fair, I think there's a lot more questions with people in this class. Not necessarily character red flags, but also injury red flags.
This is true. So you went in Harrison?
I'm going to go Harrison, then I get the first pick for the Baltimore Ravens. This feels kind of easy.
Yeah.
It just depends on I think you just take the shot on the guy with the tools.
Okay.
I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with Mikael Williams.
Smart. I'm going to do a very similar move right now. Granted, they haven't been able to develop players of this caliber very often. And I'm hoping they start now. I'm going to go Shamar Stewart. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you got to just take a shot to take a shot. At 28 for the Lions, though, I mean, defensive interior is an underrated need. Like, I think they care about.
Oh, yeah. Lee McNeil is going to be out for a big part of the season.
Right. I mean, it is a legitimate area of focus. And you know what? I think I want to not take the standard approach, which is like, let's just go edge rusher. I'm going to go Walter Nolan.
Oh, shucks.
What?
I was going to do that.
Gotcha.
I do love me Walter Nolan, and I hate seeing him slip, but it feels like the general, at least draft community, the consensus is he's like back into the first round.
Yeah.
So what does that make me want to do here for, well, I guess I could go with Donovan Ezeraku. I kind of like that. I don't mind that.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Is there anything on the, like, outside of that? Like, I guess Tyler Booker's already off the board for me. So that would have been also a consideration.
Yeah. Interior offensive line.
Yeah.
Jack Besh, I think, is a super dark horse first round pick. I'm just going to say
that is he's a super dark horse. Yeah, he's a mid-second. I'm there with you. You
talk about Ricky Pearsall and that type of stuff, like good culture guy.
Yeah, I could stick to the same position interior and go Derek Harmon. I wouldn't mind just getting the pass rush upside. They did bring back Levi Onwuzurike, so maybe you want the more girthy player. So like, I think Talik Williams is.
Tyler would be great.
Yeah, I think he would be in the consideration. This is just a really good defensive interior class in general. It's a good defensive line class in general. I don't know if you've heard, but defensive line kind of slaps.
I mean, I think there's a high amount of risk with with every player, there's always risk, but I think this defensive interior class is not getting enough pushback for how easy it could turn out to be a horrible class with them going to the wrong spot.
Yeah.
It's a very unsafe class.
I don't know if I can make a case for Josh Simmons, so I think I'm just going to go with Donovan Ezeraku. He's just one of the top players here.
Yeah, that'd be my selection too.
I mean, they brought back really just Marcus Davenport, which I love that. They got him cheap, and when healthy, pretty darn good. It's just he's never healthy. This is probably the guy with the worst injury luck I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because, like, dude, when on the field, he's pretty darn good. It's just never on the field.
Speaking of never on the field, we can talk about Laramie Tunsil never not fall starting.
Dude, I think people are just overblowing that crap.
Oh, I agree.
Dude, oh, cool.
Dude, it's called copium.
Yeah, 19 penalties out of, like, what? Like 900, 1,000 snaps. Like, okay, I get it. A lot of penalties. Fun fact, like, for the last 3 years, he's in, like, the top 3 in terms of pressure rate allowed. Like,
it's true.
Oh, but he was a locker room cancer. Cool. I think Brett Coleman put this the best way. Like, then bring in guys that can help. Like, okay, fine, screw him. Just let him go do his thing and be a top 3 tackle in the NFL. Like, the power of friendship is not going to protect CJ Stroud. Best line I have ever heard.
This is
by
true.
the way.
This is true.
When I heard that, my anime geek in me just shouted with joy. I'm taking Josh Simmons, by the way, for the Washington Commanders.
Wait, what? Hold, pause. They traded for Laramie Tunsil.
Yeah, I'm taking him to play right tackle.
What happened to Coleman?
Coleman, I think, kicks into guard because remember, Cosme is gonna miss a big chunk of the year.
I thought you were about to take that like.
No. Because like, I mean, for me, like Coleman, I thought he could play guard or tackle coming into the NFL. And I think maybe the plan is to maybe kick him in because like if they even if they don't like take a tackle here, you probably stick with Wiley. I know they revised his contract, but like, is he the future at right tackle? Probably not. So I think the plan is for Coleman to kick into guard.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's just like with Cosme out, I think it becomes like a let's try to continue to protect Jaden Daniels. So yeah, I'm not crazy.
Okay, yeah. No, you're not crazy. I was just like, oh, you might be going down the thought train that leads you, unfortunately.
To forgetting Rashawn Slater plays for the Chargers? Yeah, I got you.
Okay, at 29 for the Commanders. I'm just debating taking Jahdae Barron based on him being the best player available, but...
Dan Quinn says size be danged.
Yeah, no, I can't do that. Can't do that at all. I honestly still think that Luther Burden would be a good option here. Just getting more and more firepower. And
I feel like it's real similar to Debo, though.
Well, the thing is, we all know Debo's not long term. If he were, he'd be someone they'd pay a higher than a 5th round pick. This is a 1-year rental, pretty much. Call it as it is. The other choice I'd go with is Nick Scorton, and
I love Scorton.
Scorton's so good. I'll go Scorton.
I'm mad that he didn't like work out at the combine.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I'm gonna speed run this because we gotta get.
Yeah, you're.
I know. I'm continuing to text him like, hey, I got you,
bud. I got you.
I'm gonna go Jahdae Barron for the Bills.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's phenomenal.
I was like, I don't need to force it to the Commanders. Let's just send him to the Bills next.
Yeah. I will say it's a little tricky for me because I would love a quarter here, and maybe you can make a case for Amos. A lot of people like Azarie.
Yeah, Azarie.
I'm trying to get it down. Thank you.
Hey, trust me, I literally said it to his face, his name wrong. So
with the moves they made and the suspensions that recently surfaced, I don't mind taking a shot on Walter Nolan here and developing him. Yeah. That's probably a call here. Yeah. Because I mean, dude, both how does Michael Owen and stick in Larry Ogunjobi? It's like, hey, by the way, guys,
Max Harrison and Mike Green.
You're only paying us for 11 games this year. Just saying. I have the Kansas City Chiefs, or is that you? That's me. That's me. You? I can do some fun things here.
Amari and Hampton. They need it.
I think you could push that back. You could push that back. In this class, I think you could push it back.
I mean, I mean, I could see that.
Yeah. So I think I'm actually going to go with Derek Harmon.
Really?
Yeah.
Over Josh Connerly and Donovan Jackson?
Okay, so
Their left tackle is crap.
No, I agree. I typically go tackle a lot for the Chiefs.
It's making my job easier.
It'll make your job easy. Regardless, whoever is doing that, like whoever you pick here is playing right tackle. They brought in Jalen Moore to play left tackle.
Who cares? It's 15 mil.
Yeah, well, fun fact. Freaking Jawan, they're wasting money with Jawan Taylor anyway.
They're doing it with both.
Like whoever
Jawan has starting time.
Yeah, but dude, they're paying more to start. And you know what? I don't mind them going out on a limb because I think Moore, when he's played, he's been solid.
You do you, brother. You do you. I'll let you go into that. I ain't gonna do it. You want to go, Derek?
They have nobody on the interior outside of Chris Jones. They lost Noddy. They lost Wharton. So like Derek Harmon kind of gives you a blend of both. More so Wharton, because I think Harmon's run defense suffered this year.
Yeah.
After shedding the weight, cleaning up the body. But you know that guy's in there from Michigan State.
Yeah. Okay. Well, for the Chiefs, I will be looking at left tackle.
I'm gonna rip my head off. Screw you, bro.
Hey, dude, I was just like, whoa, okay. Like, I sure as hell am not gonna draft. I'm not gonna stop myself from drafting a tackle because of Jalen Moore. But Josh Connerly, Ursery, those are the two I'm looking at. Donovan Jackson as well. Ursery needs too much development. I don't trust them to do it. Josh Connerly has his potential initial anchor issues, but I like his re-anchoring ability. I am going to go Josh Connerly. And at 32, Howie said on Shefty's podcast that he will not tolerate any sort of violence towards women. So that leaves Mike Green off my board. And same
Maxwell Harrison.
Yep. Kick him off the board, baby. And you look at what's best for the team. You could try to go Tyler Booker here and then try to potentially train him up to be the left or the right tackle of the future. Not going to happen, in my opinion. Tight end's not good enough. Wide receiver's not a need. Running back sure as hell is not. So, I mean, honestly, a dark horse pick here would be Ursery to have him be the project for the right tackle spot. He took some right tackle reps in the Senior Bowl, yeah. But I mean, defensive interior as well. I just think it'd be such a letdown if you guys walked out and Derek Harmon's your first pick. No disrespect to Derek Harmon, but it's just like...
I feel like you have Mike Green and James Pierce here, and it's like... I get Mike Green off the board, but then James Pierce...
You know what? They sent away Chauncey, who's enough of a loudmouth. I'm going to let James Pierce and his coaching issues end off my draft. How about that?
Perfect. I love it. Because this makes my pick. Well, I mean, I was going to be able to get this guy anyway. I'm actually going to end up taking Nick Emanuwari. I think he's still on the board for me. Yes, he is.
Oh, man. Hello.
Yeah, safety is such a weird place to project. You have one go, and it's like, does a second go in the first round?
I forgot you had Emanuwari on the board.
Yeah, to be fair, both our drafts, there are some good players still left on the board here. So like,
oh man,
yeah, Nick Emanuwari going to the. I think regardless, what we've learned, the Eagles are sitting pretty at 32.
Yeah.
So thank you again. I know you have somewhere to be, Alex. So thank you again for joining me. We finally figured out how this thing can work, and hopefully this is entertaining for y'all. Y'all got 2 mock drafts for the price of 1. Quickly before we leave, Alex, let the fine people at home know where they can find you.
Yeah, follow me over on X or YouTube, primarily YouTube. YouTube's what pays. So feel free to find me first over on YouTube and then over on X at Hail Mary Sports. Of course, if you guys like draft content, I mean, I'm not going to be the guy to do something that's like super duper bland. I'm not going to force something that's spicy, but I'm just going to be honest. And I'll always walk through things logically. My logic doesn't work out. I at least want you guys to call me out on it. Be a dick. Don't be a dick about it. And I'll love you. So feel free to come join.
Yes, yes, yes. And as always, until next time, you be easy, our friends. Later. See that? Got the finger guns.
Fingers guns.
Very, very good with my hands.
Oh.